It's 1:40 in the morning. Three hooded figures move silently through the streets of North London. They reach a car park next to a synagogue, and they set 4 ambulances on fire. Not just any ambulances. Life-saving vehicles. Volunteer ambulances. Ambulances that had saved Jewish and non-Jewish lives for years. And today, the net is closing in. Stay with me. Let's start at the beginning, because to understand why these arrests matter so much, you need to understand exactly what happened on the night of March 23 RD 2026. At around 1:40 in the morning, the Metropolitan Police and the London Fire Brigade were called to Highfield Road in the Golders Green area of North London. What they found was devastating. 4 ambulances belonging to an organization called Hatzolah Northwest were completely ablaze. 6 fire engines, 40 firefighters. And still, 3 of those vehicles were destroyed outright, a 4th was seriously damaged. Now here's something you need to understand about Hatzolah. The name comes from the Hebrew word for salve, and that is exactly what they do. They are a nonprofit, volunteer-run emergency service operating 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, providing rapid medical response across North London to Jewish and non-Jewish residents alike. Their chairman, Shlomi Richman, confirmed to CNN that the ambulances were deliberately targeted. 4 of their 6 vehicles gone overnight. And it got worse. The oxygen cylinders inside those ambulances, they exploded. Windows shattered in a nearby apartment block. Residents were woken up by the blasts. One eyewitness told Sky News he heard the explosions and rushed outside just as, quote, the 3rd ambulance was blowing up. CCTV footage captured the whole thing. 3 figures, dressed in black, moving toward the vehicles, igniting them, and running. The Metropolitan Police immediately declared it what it was, an anti-Semitic hate crime. Counter-terrorism officers were brought in to lead the investigation. But who was behind this attack? And is there a wider, more dangerous connection that goes beyond London's streets? Here is where this story gets deeply alarming, because this was not just a local crime. This appears to be part of a coordinated transnational campaign of anti-Semitic violence across Europe. The SITE intelligence group, a monitoring organization that tracks extremist activity, reported that a group calling itself the Islamic Movement of the People of the Right Hand, described as an Iran-aligned militant collective, claimed responsibility for the Golders Green attack. And that same group is allegedly linked to similar arson attacks on Jewish targets in Belgium, Greece, the Netherlands, and beyond. Let that sink in for a moment. This wasn't a lone wolf. This may be a network operating across multiple countries, targeting Jewish communities and institutions in a coordinated fashion. Now, it is critically important to note, counterterrorism officers are leading this investigation. But at this stage, the Metropolitan Police have not officially classified the attack as a terrorism incident. That distinction matters legally and procedurally, even as the investigation continues at pace. What we know from British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is that he described it as a deeply shocking anti-Semitic arson attack and addressed it in the House of Commons. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, condemned it as cowardly. Health Secretary Wes Streeting announced that the government will fund 4 replacement ambulances and loan NHS vehicles to Hatzolah in the meantime. Over £500,000 has already been raised by the public through crowdfunding. This speaks to the depth of public outrage. But outrage and fundraising, while powerful, are not the same as justice. And that brings us to the arrests. Let's talk about who's been taken in and what these latest arrests actually tell us about where this investigation is heading. As of April 1, 2026, just over a week after the attack, 5 people have been arrested in connection with this crime. The first 2 British nationals aged 45 and 47 were detained last week. Both were later released on police bail and remain under active monitoring. Then, on Wednesday, the Metropolitan Police moved again. 3 more suspects were arrested at separate addresses in East London, a 20-year-old British national, a 19-year-old British national, and a 17-year-old dual British-Pakistani national. All 3 are being held on suspicion of conspiracy to commit arson with intent to endanger life. Their addresses are being searched as we speak. Commander Helen Flanagan, head of counter-terrorism policing London, said, "We know concern among the Jewish community remains high, but I hope these arrests show that we are doing everything we can to bring those responsible to justice." That phrase, "everything we can," matters, because it signals that this investigation is far from over. The range of ages here is also striking, from a 17-year-old to men in their 40s. It raises serious questions about how a group this wide in age and, apparently, in geography came together to carry out what appears to be a highly coordinated attack. And the community reaction, raw and heartbreaking. The president of Maxi Kadath Synagogue, the very synagogue next to which those ambulances were parked, told The Guardian, "The Jewish community has been under siege, and the streets of London are not good for Jewish people right now." He described people feeling frightened and vulnerable, a community already on edge. Chief Rabbi Ephraim Mervis called it a particularly sickening assault on an organization whose sole mission is to protect life, Jewish and non-Jewish alike. And Hatzolah's own volunteers? One first responder told CNN you'd like to think that life-saving activities would be sacrosanct, but clearly they're not. These are not just political statements. These are the voices of people genuinely afraid in their own city. So what does all of this mean in the broader landscape of anti-Semitism in the UK? And are authorities doing enough? Here's the context that cannot be ignored. This attack did not happen in a vacuum. Anti-Semitic incidents in Britain have been rising sharply, particularly since the Hamas attack on Israel in October 2023 and the subsequent war in Gaza. In 2025, a deadly Islamist attack on a synagogue in Manchester shocked the country. The Community Security Trust recorded the second highest number of anti-Semitic incidents ever in that same year. And now Golders Green, a neighborhood that has been the heartbeat of British Jewish life for over a century, finds itself at the center of another attack. Some members of the community are speaking openly about something that would have felt unthinkable just a few years ago: leaving. One report from Haaretz captured community members discussing exit plans, saying things like, "It's 5, 10, 20 years until we leave." This is the human cost. Not just charred metal, not just insurance claims, the psychological erosion of a community's sense of safety and belonging in a country that has been their home for generations. The British Parliament debated this attack on the very day it happened. Members across all parties condemned it. And yet the question that kept surfacing in that chamber was the same one people on the street are asking: is condemnation enough? Or does action need to follow? The arrests are a step, a significant step. But 5 arrests, no matter how welcome, do not undo the fear that has taken root, nor do they address the wider network that investigators believe may be responsible. This story is moving fast, and we're going to keep following every development. 5 arrests. A community shaken to its core. A potential transnational extremist network. And an investigation that counter-terrorism officers say is very much still active. The question isn't just who carried out this attack. It's why this is happening and whether Britain and Europe more broadly are doing enough to protect their Jewish communities before the next attack. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Is the UK's response to rising anti-Semitism strong enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about these issues. And if you're not subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story isn't over and neither are we. I'll see you in the next one.